All right, so let's dive into one of history's most notorious prison breaks, the escape from Alcatraz.
Alcatraz.
Yeah, on June 11th and 12th, 1962.
Whoa.
We're talking about The Rock, home to infamous gangsters
Oh, yeah?
like Al Capone.
Of course.
And it was designed to be inescapable.
Right.
And yet Frank Morris, along with brothers John and Clarence Anglin,
The Anglin brothers.
they managed to do just that.
It's incredible.
We've got excerpts from the FBI's official website on this
Okay.
and a really detailed Wikipedia article
Yeah.
to kind of guide us through all the facts and lingering questions about this.
It's a story that I think continues to grip people just because it really makes you question, like, what inescapable truly means.
Right. It really does.
Yeah.
So imagine, right, Alcatraz Island,
Isolated.
surrounded by freezing turbulent waters, constant surveillance,
Oh, yeah.
a dozen daily checks. The odds were, completely stacked against them.
It wasn't just physical barriers, though. Think about the psychological pressure of being in Alcatraz, the constant feeling of being watched, the crushing weight of knowing freedom seemed impossible. To even conceive of an escape, let alone plan and execute it, speaks volumes about, like, their mental resilience, you know?
It's remarkable, and it makes you wonder, about the kind of social dynamics that must have existed within the prison.
Right. Oh, absolutely.
Were there whispers, alliances, a code of silence
Yeah.
that allowed their plan to take shape under the, noses of the guards?
It's certainly possible. The prison environment breeds a very unique kind of camaraderie,
Yeah.
sometimes even among those on opposite sides of the law.
Right.
Information flows in unexpected ways in those places.
This was no spur-of-the-moment escape.
No.
Their plan involved months of meticulous preparation.
Oh, yeah.
They used discarded saw blades, spoons. They even had a makeshift drill,
Wow.
fashioned from a vacuum cleaner motor to widen the vents in their cells.
That's crazy.
How did they manage to conceal all that noise, all that activity?
They were really clever about it, actually. They used music hour to their advantage.
Really?
They covered the sounds of their work with the, lively tunes of an accordion.
An accordion.
An accordion. It just goes to show their commitment, their ingenuity.
Wow, that's pretty wild.
Yeah.
I'm struck by their resourcefulness.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the masterminds behind this daring plan, right?
Okay, yeah.
Frank Morris.
Frank Morris.
This guy was brilliant. He scored in the top 2% on IQ tests,
Wow.
with a history of successful escapes from other prisons.
He was a pro.
Yeah, like a real pro.
His intelligence is undeniable, but I think it's also important to consider how his past escapes might have informed his approach to Alcatraz. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did he see patterns, vulnerabilities, or did he perhaps develop a particular mindset that allowed him to see opportunities
Right.
where others saw only dead ends?
That's a great point.
It's fascinating.
It's like he was constantly studying the system,
Yes.
looking for weaknesses.
Absolutely.
Then there were the Anglin brothers, John and Clarence,
Right.
skilled swimmers, known for their insistence on nonviolence during their previous crimes, mainly bank robberies.
Interesting.
What do you make of that?
It raises some fascinating questions about their motivations.
Yeah.
Were they driven purely by a desire for freedom, or was there a moral code at play?
Yeah.
A belief that their escape shouldn't come at the cost of harming others?
That adds another layer to their story, doesn't it?
Definitely.
Almost makes you root for them,
Yeah.
even though they were, convicted criminals.
You too.
We can't forget Alan West, the fourth conspirator.
Right.
Sadly, his part of the plan went awry,
Yeah.
and he was left behind.
Poor guy.
But let's focus on the three who made it out.
Okay. Yeah.
Their story, after all, is the one shrouded in mystery. They actually built a secret workshop right under the guards' noses, like on the top level of the cell block.
Really? I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Think about the audacity of that.
That's wild.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
That's where they constructed their escape tools and a raft made from over 50 raincoats.
Raincoats?
Raincoats.
Wow.
They even drew inspiration from Popular Mechanics magazine for the design.
Popular mechanics.
Popular Mechanics.
That's amazing.
It's incredible that something as simple as a magazine could play such a crucial role in a prison break.
Right.
It also makes you wonder, were they already envisioning a new life for themselves somewhere? Like somewhere they could use those skills they were learning from the magazine.
That's a very interesting question. It suggests a level of planning that goes beyond just escaping confinement.
Yeah.
They were perhaps thinking about survival, integration, even a future where they could apply their newfound knowledge in a different context.
Yeah, like they were thinking ahead. And of course, we have to talk about the dummy heads.
Oh, yeah.
Soap, toothpaste, concrete dust, real hair. They went all out to fool the guards.
The detail is astonishing. They even used flesh tone paint from the prison workshop.
Wow.
Those dummy heads speak volumes about their meticulous planning and ability to think creatively under immense pressure.
It's really, really incredible.
Yeah.
So it's June 11th, 1962.
Right.
West is unfortunately stuck
Oh, no.
due to some hardened cement around his vent.
Ah, that's tough.
Morris and the Anglin brothers make their move, climbing to the roof through the ventilation shaft.
Can you imagine?
Oh, I can't even imagine.
The tension, the adrenaline pumping as they navigate that,
Yeah.
narrow, dark passage.
It's a far cry from the meticulous planning stages.
Right.
This is where instinct and quick thinking take over.
Oh, for sure.
There's a loud crash as they break free, but the guards don't investigate.
Wow, what luck.
Talk about a lucky break. They climb down a 50-foot kitchen vent pipe, they scale barbed wire fences, and launch their raft into the darkness.
Into the bay.
Yeah. What happens next is where the mystery really begins.
Absolutely.
Right.
It gets really interesting from here.
Yeah.
Yeah, out in those frigid waters, battling currents that are notoriously strong and unpredictable.
Yeah.
And we're not just talking about cold water here.
Right.
Hypothermia can set in within minutes.
Yeah. It makes their escape even more daring, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
To willingly face those conditions after months of, meticulous planning.
Yeah,
Like a whole other level of determination.
for sure.
So what did the investigation uncover? Like what did they find?
Well, a paddle was found,
Okay.
along with a wallet containing the Anglin family photos,
Wow.
fragments of a raincoat, and even a homemade life vest.
Interesting.
These items were scattered across different locations,
Oh, really?
which kind of muddies the waters, so to speak.
Yeah, it does.
Did they make it further than anyone initially thought?
Right.
Did they perhaps intentionally leave a trail?
It's like a real-life treasure hunt with incredibly high stakes.
Absolutely.
So, despite an intensive search, right, by the FBI, Coast Guard, Bureau of Prisons, their bodies were never recovered.
Never found.
And this lack of, definitive proof
Right.
is, of course, what fuels this ongoing debate about their fate.
It's the biggest question.
It is, yeah.
The biggest question.
Now, the FBI officially concluded that they drowned, but the U.S. Marshals investigation remains open.
That's right.
Right.
It's an interesting contrast, isn't it?
It is.
The FBI focused on the physical evidence,
Okay.
the treacherous currents, the lack of bodies,
Right.
leading them to the conclusion that the escapees most likely perished.
Okay.
But the U.S. Marshals seem to be approaching it from maybe a different angle,
Yeah.
Perhaps considering the possibility of outside assistance,
Right.
alternative explanations, or even just the psychology of individuals who successfully orchestrated such a complex escape.
You mention outside assistance. Wasn't there a police officer, Robert Chechi,
Yes,
who reported seeing a suspicious boat near Alcatraz that night?
there was. And his account raises the intriguing possibility that Morris and the Anglins had help waiting for them.
Okay.
However, the FBI dismissed Chechi's report, citing a lack of corroborating evidence.
It's easy to get swept up in the what ifs, though, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Especially with, those mysterious postcards and calls
Right.
that the Anglin family allegedly received.
Yeah, some were even signed with variations of Jerry and Joe.
Really?
Supposedly.
Wow.
These reports add a layer of intrigue that's hard to ignore, right?
It is, yeah.
While some dismiss them as hoaxes or wishful thinking,
Sure.
the Anglin family maintains they were genuine communications from John and Clarence.
Okay.
They even claim to have received a Christmas card signed John shortly after the escape.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
hard to ignore.
it is.
And then there are the photos.
Oh, the photos, yeah.
Supposedly taken in Brazil,
Years later,
years after the escape, showing two men who bear a striking resemblance to John and Clarence Anglin.
right, those photos, provided by a family friend named Fred Britzi,
Fred Britzi.
have been the subject of, much debate and analysis.
Oh, yeah.
Facial recognition technology has even been applied. Experts have weighed in.
Right.
And still, there's no definitive answer as to their authenticity.
It's fascinating how technology can like both fuel the mystery
Yeah,
and at times fall short of providing concrete answers.
that's true.
Then there's that alleged letter from John Anglin written in 2013.
Oh, right, yeah.
What's your take on that?
This letter is perhaps the most intriguing piece of the puzzle.
Okay.
In it, John Anglin claims that he and his brother survived,
Wow.
but that Frank Morris passed away in 2008.
Oh, wow.
The FBI examined the letter for fingerprints and DNA,
Yeah.
but the results were inconclusive.
So much of this comes down to interpretation
I think so.
and what you choose to believe.
Absolutely. It's like piecing together a puzzle with some pieces missing, you know?
Yeah.
You have to use logic, intuition, and even a bit of imagination to fill in the gaps.
We can't forget that another inmate, John Paul Scott, successfully swam from Alcatraz
Yeah.
just a few months after Morris and the Anglin brothers escaped.
Yes, Scott's case is often cited as proof that survival was possible.
Okay.
However, it's crucial to note that he was found suffering from severe hypothermia and exhaustion.
Right.
He only survived because he was discovered and received immediate medical attention.
Yeah.
It really underscores the sheer danger and incredible luck that would have been involved in surviving that swim.
So even if they reached the mainland,
Right.
their ordeal wouldn't have been over. They
Right.
would have faced the constant pressure of being fugitives,
Absolutely.
living under assumed identities, always looking over their shoulders.
Think about the psychological toll that would take.
Yeah.
The inability to truly connect with anyone, the fear of exposure, the constant need for secrecy. It would be a heavy burden to carry.
Now, Alcatraz closed just a year after their escape in 1963.
Interesting.
Partly due to, high operating costs and deterioration from the harsh saltwater environment.
Right. Right.
It's an interesting footnote to this story, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
The infamous prison, a symbol of, America's unyielding justice system,
Right.
closed its doors just as the legend of its most daring escape was taking root.
Almost as if the escape itself chipped away at its impenetrable facade.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
So we have all these intriguing bits of information, right?
Mm-hmm.
The scattered belongings, the reported sightings, the mysterious communications,
Right.
but nothing concrete.
Yeah.
The official conclusion is that they drowned, yet the case remains open.
It does?
The possibility of their survival still lingering.
It's enough to make your head spin.
It really is.
So do you lean one way or the other?
I find myself going back and forth. The rational part of me acknowledges the odds were stacked against them.
Sure.
The evidence pointing towards a tragic end.
Right.
But then there's that other part, the part that's drawn to the impossible.
Yeah.
The part that wants to believe they outwitted the system and carved out new lives for themselves.
I get it.
And honestly, that's the part that makes this story so captivating.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's that blend of logic and intrigue.
Right.
The push and pull between what we know and what we want to believe,
Yeah.
that keeps us coming back to stories like this.
It really makes you contemplate the nature of freedom, doesn't it?
Freedom, yeah.
What does it truly mean to be free?
Oh, yeah.
If they did survive, right?
Yeah.
Were they ever truly free, living under assumed identities,
Right.
constantly looking over their shoulders?
Like always on edge.
Yeah.
Looking over your shoulder, yeah.
Or was the act of escape itself that assertion of their will, right,
Oh, yeah.
against this unyielding system,
Yeah.
enough to provide a sense of liberation?
That's a profound question.
It is.
The psychological implications of an escape like that
Right.
are immense.
Yeah.
To live with that secret, the constant fear of discovery, the inability to fully embrace a new life.
Right.
It would require a remarkable amount of mental fortitude.
Yeah, imagine the internal conflict,
Yeah.
the weight of that past always present.
Always there.
Could they ever truly reconcile those two parts of themselves?
Right.
The escaped convict and the person they became, after Alcatraz?
It raises questions about identity, reinvention, and the possibility of redemption.
Yeah.
Could they ever truly outrun their past, or would it always be a shadow
Yay.
lurking just behind them?
And think about the impact on their families, too.
Oh, of course.
The Anglin brothers' mother reportedly received flowers every Mother's Day
Really?
until she passed away.
Wow.
And there were even reports of two unusually tall women in heavy makeup
No way.
attending her funeral.
Those details, whether true or, embellished over time,
Right.
really feed into the mythology surrounding this escape.
Yeah, it
It
does.
speaks to our desire to believe in a human connection
Right.
that transcends even the most, extraordinary circumstances.
Yeah. Did they find a way to maintain some semblance of connection with their loved ones?
It makes you wonder.
Like through maybe coded messages or clandestine visits?
Right.
Or were those simply like phantom gestures
Yeah.
interpreted through the lens of like hope and grief?
It's hard to say,
It is.
especially when emotions run so high.
This case has captivated people for, decades.
Well, for sure.
Books, documentaries.
The Clint Eastwood movie,
Even a Clint Eastwood movie, yeah.
Escape from Alcatraz.
We can't seem to get enough of this Alcatraz escape.
It's a great story.
It is.
Why do you think that is?
I think it taps into our like universal fascination
Yeah.
with the underdog, the triumph of human ingenuity against all odds.
It's the ultimate underdog story.
It is.
We're drawn to stories of resilience,
Right.
of individuals who refuse to accept the limitations imposed upon them.
Right.
The Alcatraz escape, whether they survived or not, really embodies that spirit.
It's a story that challenges our perceptions of like what's possible. A story that reminds us that even in the most, secure and controlled environments,
Right.
the human spirit can find a way to, to break free.
I think, in a way, that's the most enduring legacy of the Alcatraz escape.
Yeah.
It's not just about the physical act of escaping a prison.
No.
It's about the enduring power of hope,
Right.
the refusal to be confined by circumstance,
Yeah.
and the enduring mystery that keeps us searching for answers,
Yeah.
even decades later.
For sure.
What do you think happened that night on Alcatraz?
I don't know.
Did they make it? Could they still be out there?
That's the beauty of it, isn't it?
That's us.
We're left to ponder,
We are.
to weigh the evidence, to draw our own conclusions.
Yeah,
And ultimately, I think that's what makes this story so compelling.
I agree.
It's a story that each of us can finish in our own way.
Absolutely. It's a story that lives on in our imaginations.